You good to go?
Yep.
All right, dope. All right, guys, welcome back to another episode. Still haven't figured out a name for this thing yet, but I'm Samantha Garcia on the mic here, but we do have a surprise guest, Mike, but more specifically, Mike from the Shack. How are you doing?
Doing all right. How's it going today?
Pretty good, and I like picking people out from Athens that, you know, everyone knows, and I'm not trying to give you a big head, but everyone knows Mike the Shack. How do you feel about that? Just you have that nickname kind of behind you.
I like it. It's free advertisement. It lets me know that I'm kind of, doing something right along the way as business goes. I went to school here, so I think it kind of just led over from me going to school here and then people kind of just relating to me. And can't complain. I don't know. Students seem to like me, so it brings in new, I won't say students or business every year, so I'm cool with it.
And when you went here, did you study business, or was did this kind of just pop out of nowhere?
I was an econ major, so supply and demand. So I'm not technically using my degree, but students want to drink. I have the supply, and there's a demand for it. So
Yeah, and maybe for the people that don't know, I mean, I just jumped into Mike the Shack, but your business, you're right on Court Street. You got some alcohol that everyone knows to bring it to you. What kind of made you want to start that business? I mean, obviously there's other places that you can get alcohol, but why did you think you wanted to start this?
well, the main thing I started with is just a need for tuition. I came to school here. Just my parents just wanted me to go to school. So they just go. I got down here and they were kind of like, all right, well, hey, this costs a little bit more than we thought, and we need you to come home. So while having this conversation, I was actually watching the guy who sets up hot dog stand by BP or Valero now.
Yep.
I seen him had a line. I talked to him, figured out that, hey, I could probably afford a hot dog cart. So I used my overage check. I don't know if you guys still call them that, but that's what we called them at the day, your student loans overage check. And I used that money to buy me a hot dog cart, some starter food, my food permit, and my rental for my hot dog cart, which was Mike's Dog Shack. And we set up in the parking lot between Lucky's and Attractions. I did that for maybe a year, got tired of the cold, switched to my current location, and I had a couple customers just saying, hey, like, I love your food here. We were open like late night bar crowd till like 3 in the morning. They suggested that, hey, if you added beer and cigarettes, it'd be like a small 7-Eleven. So I did. Beer and cigarettes, they actually started out selling the food, and it was just a situation where I kind of just thought, hey, chase the money, not the dream. So we switched over to full carry out alcohol and tobacco and vapes and whatnot. So it never was a plan to actually be a convenience store. It just kind of one thing led to the other situation.
So did you start that when you were still in school?
Yep. My junior year of college here, like I said, my parents wanted me to come home, and I just didn't want to do it. So I kind of figured out whatever I was going to do. Told them, hey, thanks for everything, but I'm going to figure it out, and just kind of led me to where I am now. So.
And that's an interesting motto that you said, chase the money, not the dream. I feel like a lot of people, at least, I don't want to say nowadays, but I feel like a lot of people will go and chase that dream. Why do you say chase the money?
Well, I look at it as, hey, my overall goal initially was just to pay for tuition. I never wanted to sell hot dogs. It was just at the time, that's what I could afford. And then going through that journey, I started to study more about restaurants and food and everything in that nature. And, it kind of became a dream for me. But when I realized that, hey, I was making more money with the alcohol, it just made more sense for me to just, forego that dream a little bit and get the money to secure it. And then you can go do kind of what you want in the future. So that's kind of what led me to say, hey, the whole chase the money, not the dream thing. Because, I'm making good money now. I was doing okay there, but I was just getting by with the food. So.
I get you. And I guess in Athens, it's kind of a weird place because it's so secluded. It really just is the school, and then, you got the local townies and stuff. Yeah. For you, you went to school here, but like growing up and living here, what's that been like?
I'm not from here. I'm actually from Columbus, Ohio, so it's definitely a big adjustment. It's a lot smaller. There's not a lot of black people walking around here, but I may do for what I need to do for me. So I think being a student kind of helped me understand the trends a little bit. So I kind of know when fests are, when breaks are, how to order a little bit better. You get somebody like maybe a CVS who has a corporate office who's not in town, they don't know it's going to be slow this weekend. They're going to order the same amount of stuff. Me, I can save that money, try to get rid of older inventory, stuff like that. So it kind of helps me, I guess, relate a little bit more to the current environment. So.
And you operate alone. I know that you have some workers there, but kind of just having that business to yourself that you've kind of made. What's that been like? Just kind of being a business owner, but then also being able to. You're not just gonna pawn this off. You have to stay here and put in that time.
Yeah, I think it works well for me being the face of it. I'm in there all the time. I get to see the same people all the time. I kind of know when, hey, like, you're not a regular, you're weird, you're kind of underage, you're not supposed to be here. So that kind of helps in my favor. We do have a few students that help out throughout the year. They kind of graduate and move on. So I always, try to help them too in that situation. But I like being in there solo. Gives me a chance to catch up on my favorite shows, podcasts, whatever. And I get to make money. And at the same time, I don't have a boss that tells me what I need to do, where I need to be. Like right now, we're open. I was at work. I was able to just pop out and go. Like, I mean, not many people can do that. So I'm actually happy about that.
And you listen to podcasts and TV shows. I see you got the Spider-Man hat on. You got to tell me, are you a Marvel fan?
I am a Marvel fan, yes. I would say Marvel over DC, only because they're doing a better overall job as far as films. DC might have a one-up on their animated films, but overall, Marvel is just crushing it in the comics, the TV, the movies, just merchandise overall. They're just doing better. It is what it is. So.
And is that what you grew up on? Were you like a big superhero kind of guy, or like what was your thing when you were a kid?
I was kind of mixed. I was also a jock, but I was also kind of nerdy. So I had the grades, but I also was pretty popular, pretty cool with people. So I kind of just found my way and not really care what anybody thought about me. So I would also read comics. I still collect comics, and I still buy and trade high-end comics all the time. I watch cartoons, anime, but then I still I listen to a podcast about Rich Dad Poor Dad or Think and Grow Rich and stuff that I guess some would call like serious or self-help books. So I don't know. I like to just balance things the way it comes. Knowledge is knowledge, however way you can get it. So.
And comic book collecting has kind of, I don't want to say dropped down, but it's not as popular anymore. And I guess in Athens, I haven't really seen a place like that. Where do you go and trade those?
In Athens, I would say it's not as popular no more. We used to have one here. The main one caught on fire, and then they salvaged the building a little bit, and then it had the original owners took off to another location. And we had some other people take it over, and it didn't work out quite the way they wanted to. But overall, comics and collectibles are at an all-time high. A lot of people just don't know, based off all the Marvel movies and the DCEU. It's kind of pushed the hobby back into the forefront. So books that I bought when I was a kid for $1 or $2 are worth thousands now. So
Dang.
I think just growing up in that era in the late 90s to the 2000s where books were affordable, they were there, and that's when, like, you got the cartoons going to movies, and then now I'm adult age and people like me with money to spend. I guess that's kind of what we want to do with our money. So I could probably sustain life or close down my store and live off of just comics.
No way.
Just because the demand is there.
What's the most expensive one you have?
I don't want to say, but I have some pretty good high-end ones, though. So.
And then I guess transitioning that into like you said, jock in high school. Well, what sports did you play in high school? I got to know.
Football and basketball.
Football.
Point guard, and I play strong safety.
So what's your NFL team?
The Browns.
The Browns? Ooh.
Yeah. We're
about
doing
that
bad,
one.
but I'm loyal. I still, hey, represent. So, hey, it is what it is. But all Browns fans are loyal. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, all my friends that are Browns fans, they've been Browns fans every single time they've had a negative season.
Through ups and downs, yeah.
Through ups and downs. So what do you think about the Baker trade? Were you a fan of him?
I'll say it like this. We were 1-31 before Baker, and then Baker came in and he took us to the playoffs. I will also acknowledge that that was probably the weakest link on our team and one of the highest paid at the time. So I'm kind of up in the air. I think he's taken us as far as he could. and I think it is time for us to have a fresh start. So I appreciate everything Baker done for the organization. I just think it's a tough thing. It's business, and I guess it's time for us to move on. So.
And Joey B, he's also from Athens. Have you ever met him? Has he ever come in? Or?
I've met him, but nothing. I couldn't say nothing personal or friends or nothing like that. So most of the time, it was just when he was in high school, going to watch games like that, and just seeing him before the big Joey Burrow fame. But it's dope though that he has gained some success, brought some attention to some of the food banks in Athens, Ohio. I'm not a Bengals fan, but I did root for the Bengals this year in the playoffs. So nothing but respect for Joey B. So
you watch college football?
yes, Buckeyes to the heart. I am, I guess what you want to call, let's say, I'm from Columbus, so I'm a Buckeye fan. But if OU ever plays the Buckeyes again, I want them to have a great showing to get real close. But I still want the Buckeyes to win. It's just me. So.
Yeah, Ohio State, I guess, yeah. Then in Columbus, then that's kind of what you grew up on.
I mean, that's pretty much our pro team there. I mean, if you grew up in Columbus, it's Buckeyes or die. Forget that team up north, type of situation. So, yeah, I'm a diehard Buckeye fan. It just can't come out of it. So.
And is your family still there in Columbus now?
The majority of my family is from Columbus. I'm probably one of the only ones that moved out of the city or whatever. I'm down here now full time, so I like it down here. It's quiet. I don't think I would want to run a store like I do in Columbus. It's safer down here. The students are great, and can't beat the happy foot traffic that I get there.
So what was then like a crazy time for you, I guess, then that maybe happened in your store or something that happened to you that you were kind of like, whoa?
In the store, I guess most of the crazy stuff is when we were open on the late night. It was you'll get drunk people just coming back from the bar. They're happy, they're up, they just got out, and we're in there just trying to serve food. So you would get guys just flirting with girls in there or just talking crazy. But usually most people know me beforehand, and I'm not like the biggest guy in the world, but I'm not a small guy, so usually people are pretty chill. But I would say one of the craziest stories I would have comes from me being a RA here. Mom's weekend, I was an RA in the convo, and maybe about 2, 3 in the morning, I get a knock on the door from the student. He's crying, he's real upset, and I'm like, hey man, what's going on? Like, he's like, hey, I need to get into my room. I think my roommate's in there having sex with my mom. So I'm like,
shut up.
Right. Yeah, it's craziest thing ever. So I talk to him. I'm like, I get him calmed down. I'm like, all right, look, I'll let you in here, but like you got to relax, like, because by the rules I have to let him in the room. It's his room. So I go down, I get the key, I come back. So I'm again, my guy, like, calm down. Open the door, he pushes me out the way, he runs in, start boom, 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 start fighting the guy or whatever. The mom's sitting there yelling, everybody's naked, and I'm just sitting there just frozen at this point. Security aides get called, police get called. And then the one thing everyone wants to know is like, well, why did you let him in? I'm like, well, I have to let him in. It's his room, like, whatever. So eventually they get everybody out of there. Mom is just plastered, drunk, faded. Son's still crying, cussing her out, everything like that. Took about maybe a week or two to get the other roommate out of the room, move down and everything. And good thing it was like around now. So there was only like, at that time we were on quarter, so it was like a month or so left. We got out in June then, so it wasn't too bad. But for my experience, I've never dated any moms here. I've heard crazy stories about people, but that was the one and only time that I actually experienced it in person, and it's just crazy. So that's the shout out to MILF Weekend here at Ohio University. I mean, it's a wild time. That's all I can say. So.
I don't even know what to say to that.
That's
like every guy's like, I don't want to say dream, but everyone's like, yeah, I want to get with a mom. That dude literally got with
you don't mess with your roommate's mom. I don't know. Maybe there should be rules to it. I don't know. But hey, I think every male student here, MILF Weekend, whatever, quotation fingers. But yeah, that's the only one I've ever witnessed in person. And it wasn't pretty, so.
Oof, that's tough to beat. But so you were an RA, and then Did you live on campus still, like afterwards, or when you graduated?
In my years here, I lived my freshman year. I lived on Dirty South, Ewing Hall, top floor. One of the only ones that's still back there. They're starting to tear them buildings down. Sucks, but mine's still there. Sophomore year, like I said, I was an RA in the convo. It's pretty dope. They give you a quad. You get a whole quad to yourself. So I had 4 closets. I had 4 desks. At that time, they used to give us Dell computers. Each person had a desktop computer in the room. Internet. We actually had a landline phone with your own individual number. And then I was able to push 2 of my beds together and make like one huge big king bed. So that was dope too.
That's awesome.
After that, I stayed on West Washington, and then up in Courtyard Apartments. So had a wide variety, I guess, of Athens experiences and stuff. So
Have you ever gotten sick of it, or it's a good balance?
I will say there is times where it's like, all right, Mike, you've been down here for a while. Maybe it's time, but I enjoy my job. I get to be around a lot of different personalities on the daily. Every year I get to meet new different people that somehow I end up befriending or just being cool with in some form or fashion. They come in and talk to me. I end up just meeting random people like you, where I come do things like this. A lot of this stuff I probably wouldn't do in a bigger city. The atmosphere is great. This campus, I mean, you got green grass. It's fairly safe compared to, I mean, most campuses. I'm sure every campus has their issues or whatever. Before COVID, there was always tons of people, tons of business, tons of parties, tons of fests. The bars were always jumping. I mean, for any age group, from the 20-year-old students like you, the 30-year-olds like me, even the 50-year-old professors have their spots they can go to. So it was always different niches for people. The cost of living is low, which is probably the best thing. And I don't know, Athens is just a cool town. I like it.
Yeah, that's what I always say. And when I talk to people that have went here, they just say, "How is this place real?" You know what I mean? It's so secluded.
Yeah, I
the
understand.
people here are like, I don't want to say weird. I got yelled at for saying the word weird, but unique people.
Yep, it's a utopia for sure.
It is a utopia.
Most people that go to school here, they can party, they can work, they can function. I know a lot of the things that people, when they go to school here and they drink and then they go off to bars in their hometowns elsewhere and they hear the prices of the drinks, and it's like, wow. Like, I mean, down here, $20, you can go out and get like great night. I don't know. But in most places in big cities, that might be one drink. So
Yeah, I remember on my 21st birthday, I went out with $5 and I came home and I couldn't see anything. And then the next weekend I was in Columbus, or a couple weekends later I was in Columbus with some of my friends. And I think I just got like vodka water or something like that. It was like $15.
Yeah.
And I snapped my head and I said, we're too spoiled here.
welcome to the real world. Yep, yeah. That's what I said. Hey, Athens is a unique place, and hey, there's no other place like it. Once you come here and go to any other campus, you'll want to be back here. That's for sure.
And just, we mentioned the bars and the fest. Were you more of a bar guy or were you more of a fest party type guy?
I will say my first couple years being, underclassmen, not being able to get in the bars, you're more of a fest person. You go kind of make your way and meet who you can. Usually at parties, there's already alcohol there, so that's probably your best chances of getting some. So at that point in time, I was probably diehard fester, if that's the word you want to call it. Once I got a little older, the bars pretty much took a lot of my time. Little different scene now. There were maybe 5 or 6 bars that were around when I was here. A bar called the Greenery, Zach's, the Blue Gator, 19 South, Club Evolution, Club Dream. There's probably more. Can't think of them all, but
They're all gone.
they're all gone. New owners or new bars. Some of them are closed. Zach's is universities now. The Blue Gator is the Overhang. 19 South is a hibachi place now. So it's just different. I don't know, but still love it. Still love the bar scene. I would say Tony's is one of my favorite.
The hot nuts.
Can't beat the hot nuts in
Hot
there.
nuts are so good.
Those are what he likes to call them, the drink that made Tony's right there. everyone goes there for it. So, uh, what can I say? Like I said, I love the bar scene here.
What's your drink of choice now if you are going to a bar?
If I'm going to a bar now, my drink of choice is whiskey soda. So just some Perrier and whiskey, probably Jameson. So
I love Jameson.
simple, no sugar, no hangovers.
I like that. Have you had the Jameson Orange?
I haven't tried that yet. No, I
You're
haven't-
kidding.
I never knew it existed, so I'll have to add that to the mix.
You have to try it. Jameson Orange with Sprite or Jameson Orange with ginger ale. It is.
I'll try it.
It's so good.
It
But
sounds pretty good. So.
at the pub, that's where all my friends and a lot of my friends work too.
Yep.
And the Jameson, I mean, they'll go through bottles a night. But like you were talking about, the whiskey here, you really get Jameo, and then if you want to be fun and pick something else out, it's kind of fun.
A lot of times, what we used to call the official drink of OU was Jameo with a chaser orange juice. So I can see that. I can see that being a good combination. So yeah, I'll try it one day. Thanks for the rep.
Yeah, no problem. And I guess then I don't want to say to wrap it up, but just to look more towards the future. Do you have any things planned for the future? Is there anything in the works, or are you still just grinding hard here?
Right now, it's pretty much just maintain and keep the status quo going because COVID definitely took an effect on not only me but every probably business in town. I mean, even Wendy's on Court Street closed down. If a business like that closed down, I mean, obviously everyone was affected. So it's kind of just getting students back to used to being on campus. I know the numbers are down right now. Hopefully, all the fears are, questions, ease a little bit and people feel, more comfortable coming out and about. So the current status quo is just to, maintain to about 2024 when things hopefully get back to normal, which is my thoughts of maybe when it be. And then maybe then we can bring back some of the big festivals, big concerts that we would usually help promote and sponsor. So that's kind of where I want to go with things in the future here. So,
What is something at the Shack that you sell that you hate?
cigarettes. I don't believe in them. I think since a little kid, when you were like in dare class or elementary or whatever, and they would show you the videos, and it would always be the person talking with the talking thing, like hello, whatever. I always thought like, hey, because my mom and dad smoked, and I would go home like, Mom and Dad, if you don't stop, like, this is what's going to happen to you, and blah blah blah. And I eventually end up stopping them from smoking. So when I added it as a product, it was more or less just to bring customers in, and to, I guess, cater to a need because I have a lot of foot traffic that walks past my store from the sorority houses behind me and everything. But this generation don't smoke cigarettes as much, so they mostly vape, and I've currently just been filtering cigarettes off. So I haven't ordered cigarettes probably in a year now, and probably won't anymore. So yeah, I met a few good townies, I guess, or whatever, whether through them being students at the time and me being a student, or them coming in through the store, me meeting different people who bartended, different places or own different bars. So I try to get cool and talk to anybody that can give me advice or help me out in any way. And that's, I guess, helped me along in town. Like the guy who cuts my grass now, I met him. He used to be a bartender at Cat's Eye. Just randomly just going into Cat's Eye and just talking to him, and then eventually being cool with him. And then 10 years later, he starts a lawn company and say, hey, man, come cut my grass too. So little things like that. Shout out to A-Town Mowing too. Just kind of, overall helps me as a person and helps them, I guess, too. So, yeah, tons of people like that in town I love.
Before we go, if you want to give a piece of advice to anyone listening, it could be about life or school or something, or even something stupid.
I guess the best advice I would have for students in school here now, if I was 20 again, if somebody could tell me anything, would be to, instead of wasting all my money, to take at least half of my money and invest it. And I know people say, "Oh, I don't even have money now, so how can I invest?" Well, if you don't invest now, you're not gonna have any money then either. So, if I had it all to do over again when I was 20, running around in this campus, if I bought a beer, I would have bought $5 worth of stocks too. If I would have bought, Slovaki's on the late night, I would have bought $5 of Apple, and that little bit of 50-50 here. 10 years later adds up a lot. So if I had it all to do over again, I would start investing early, as much as I could, so that now I would be able to relax and wouldn't have to work forever. So
I get you. I like that. So, do you think crypto's the future?
I think crypto is here. So all the meme stocks, all the NFTs, it may not sustain, but I think there are a lot of use case scenarios in certain cryptos and blockchain features. I would say, like, for example, a NFT that is currently being used is Matic. Matic is being used by the NFL to print tickets. So if you go to a Browns game, for instance, this year, they no longer accept paper or printed tickets, not even something that you can scan. Your ticket comes in a digital NFT on your phone. You can save it in like your Apple Wallet. So when you go, they just take like a scanner, and then you just wave your phone in front of it, and boom, that's how you get in the game. That's a use case scenario that I think is going to move on to basketball games, college games, high school games. I mean, you don't have to print anymore, so it saves you a lot of money, and it's easier to track it digitally. When people knock different NFTs like the Bored Apes or the Crypto Punks and stuff like that, I understand that. But there are use case scenarios and everything. So I would just tell people to, even if you're not into it or whatever, still learn about it, because you never know. It might come in handy for you one day.
I appreciate that. After this, I'll go put some money in my Robinhood account.
There you go.
How about that? Well, Mike, thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate it as always. Again, check out the Shack on Court Street. Mike's got all the things that you need. But another video here in the books. Make sure you guys like this video. Subscribe if you want to. I'm not going to be too mad if you don't, but maybe I might be. Probably not. I don't know. But, yeah, we'll just end it there. Have a good night.
I appreciate having me, and everybody out there, have a good day.
That's it. Cool. Bye, guys.
Good.
Yeah.